Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Jonah from Spotlight, and today we are talking to Rhonda. Rhonda, how are you doing?
I'm doing awesome, Jonah. Thanks. Thanks for having me here.
Of course, it's an absolute pleasure to have you. And before we get started, I want to get a couple things out of the way. First off, everybody who's watching, thank you for being here. Please hop in the comments, which I don't doesn't look like I have to tell you because you are already doing that. But holler out where you're tuning in from, something you're excited to learn, maybe how you heard about Rhonda, how you heard about Spotlight. We love hearing all of that. Just want to call out a couple people. We got Anita from Minnesota. I am currently in Minnesota as well. So hello from across the state. We got from Pennsylvania, from Florida, all over the place. Everyone is here, and thank you for being here. And a couple more things. Just if you have any questions during the presentation, please pop them in the chat. We will try and answer all of those, but if we don't get to them right away, we are not ignoring you. We've set aside time after Rhonda's presentation to get through all those questions. So pop them in there, we'll save them. And then during the Q&A, if it seems like we missed it, pop it in again. We're going to try and get to all of your questions. And if things are moving fast, life around you happens, you have to get up away from the computer, don't fret. All of this will be available in a replay. It'll be on the Spotlight YouTube channel. It'll be on the Spotlight event page, and it'll also be emailed to you along with the course offer, which we'll talk about a little later. And just to make sure that everyone is in the right place, like I said, we are talking to Rhonda Wade, and we are going to be talking about creating effective online classes for your customers. And the topics we're going to cover, we're going to show you how to build, price, and offer online classes that put the creativity in the hands of your customers. Now, Rhonda, I know you have a lot to offer us today, so I just want to hop in, and why don't you introduce yourself and we can get started.
Awesome. I do have a lot to cover, so we can jump right in. Usually when I train and teach on online classes for years and years and years, and the last 2 years, all the time, because it's something that anybody who offers a product that is creative, that requires teaching, or that requires classes, we needed help during the pandemic because we weren't able to gather in that class type atmosphere. So this is something I'm very, very passionate about. But before I get started, I see lots of new faces, and I see so many of my amazing friends and clients and team members. So I'm so grateful you guys are here supporting me. And those of you who are new, and this might be the first time that you've ever heard or listened to one of my trainings, my name is Rhonda Wade. I have been a part of the paper crafting industry, specifically Stampin' Up! for about 21 years. But more importantly, I have been a part of direct sales for almost 24 years. I'm very passionate about direct sales, and specifically passionate about paper crafting and Stampin' Up! So, but about 13 years ago, even when I joined the paper crafting world, it wasn't because I was an avid paper crafter. I was actually I was a young mom and just looking for something to help me get out of the house. My true passion actually is the business side of things, is putting it all together. It's the working with the people. It's the connections that we make. Those are some of the true passions, and that it's my career, it's my job. Now, 13 years ago, very quickly, I was blessed to find success. I do have a gift and a passion for direct sales. And so I would spend many time, obviously, training and teaching my team, but also friends within the company, my sidelines. And eventually I, couldn't help people because I just didn't have enough time. So that is when I started specifically a training business that I dedicate to training. We do training once a week for 52 weeks a year, and it's been going on for 13 years. We also have one-on-one trainings that I do, and group training, and elite mastermind groups too. So the Creating Success training program is very full, diversified, and it's here to help specifically Stampin' Up! Demonstrators. But today's topic is definitely geared towards anybody that really sells a product that needs to be taught, that needs to, an online class, it needs a class. Maybe you used to do classes, or we all know, we should know that when we actually touch, feel, use, and experience something, that is what makes us fall in love with it. Let me give you one. I have a couple different examples, but the top one I've been working with my daughter-in-law, and she doesn't sell Stampin' Up. She actually sells Mary Kay. So she sells makeup, skincare. And when the pandemic, and before that, she would always do, classes. And then when the pandemic happened, she couldn't do them anymore. And just showing a bottle, just showing, a tube of lipstick, just showing that stuff is not going to sell it. What sells it is when you actually use the product and see what it does to you and how it makes you look in it. So since then, I've been working with her on running online classes. Yeah, she runs online classes with Mary Kay. So this is something that you can do with any product that actually needs to be put together. Specifically today, I'll talk mostly about paper crafting, which is card making, scrapbooking, home decor, samplers, gift giving, cute little ideas. But really, it does pertain to any industry that does use products. And some of you probably only want to offer online classes and not put some of the work behind it. I want to challenge you that think about the ways that you can get your product into the hands of your customers and new customers, and how much more effective and powerful your business will be. So to give you some insight on this topic, this is probably one of my favorite and most passionate topics. My real favorite one is about building a team, because my team is my heart and soul. But this might be a very close second. For the last 13 years, I have been running online classes. Even before the pandemic. It's something I started again shortly after my training business, because so many people across the country wanted to be able to take the classes that I was offering instead of just locally. So I really said, okay, let's figure out how to do this. So for 13 years, I have been fumbling and learning and doing things wrong, doing things right, and learning all along the way. 13 years of experience. In that time frame, I tried to kind of guesstimate how many classes I sent out, and this is probably low, but I would say anywhere between 75,000 to 100,000 classes have left my studio. Minimum. It's probably more. And those classes alone have generated over $1 million in sales. You can only do the math to realize how much income is coming from that as well. So online classes is something that I am passionate about. It's something that I've been doing and perfecting on average, even today. So I'm not one thing I am very, very confident in, and that I like to share with you, is that I always teach from what works and from experiences. I'm not teaching what worked 13 years ago or 15 years ago or even 3 years ago. I'll be teaching you what works today because I am doing it with you. Just on average right now, I'll send out between 500 and 600 classes every single month out of this studio. So with that being said, I am here to share with you all the secrets, the ins, the outs behind it that I possibly can within about 30 minutes. So there's still obviously lots out there, but I want to try to give you the best tips and steps I can in this short period of time. And then there will be time for that question and answer afterwards as well. But first of all, I like to let you know that I am also, I know you're going to hear me say a lot of stuff. And one thing I hear a lot is that I'm too busy. I have a full-time job. I, take care of my kids or take care of my parents. Everybody has something in their life that they do full-time besides whatever their job is, or their hobby, or whatever their side hustle is, or whatever you call that. Personally, I am a wife. I am a mom of 4 children, actually 6, because 2 of them are married. I'm a daughter. I'm a sister. I'm a friend. I'm a neighbor. I love Jesus with all of my heart and serve him in every way capacity that I can. My business is actually a reflection of that love. I know that he has poured gifts into me, and my calling is to give those gifts back to those around me. And that includes my business. I know that if my business is going to stay such a priority in my life, both my stamping business and my training business, then it has to be there to serve others and to see them do and grow and become more confident. And so ultimately, everything I do is to take the gifts and use them to serve and love others. And that is me, and my most important priority is to always see other people succeed. It is truly my passion. It is what fuels me. Actually, your success is truly what makes me and motivates me to continue to pour into all of you and my team and my own business as well. So for the last 2 years, the pandemic has hit, right? It has changed everything. And if you have any business that where you would do classes and where you would teach and things that need to be taught, then 2 years ago, our world was rocked. At that time, my online classes literally doubled almost within 2 or 3 months because people couldn't leave their house and they still wanted to be able to paper craft or do whatever it is that you do. But what hasn't changed in the last 2 years is the power of selling and sales, the power of experience, the power of touching, feeling. Let me tell you, the euphoria that happens, and there's a medical term for this and a scientific term, I don't know what it is, but when you are creative or when you make something or when you create something, what happens is some endorphins are released in you, and that causes joy, it causes excitement, it causes happiness, and that means we want more of that. Those are feelings that we want to replicate. We don't get those feelings just by looking at something, just by reading something or watching something. When we are creative and we create something, it happens in our brain and in our heart and in our whole system. That has not changed, even with the pandemic. So we have got to find a way, and there is a way. I'll give you the way to be able to still allow our customers to experience that creativity, to experience the actual making of something, even if it's right through a computer, if it's from their home, if it's we have to provide them with the products that they need to be able to make, to be able to create a card, to be able to create a box or a bag, to be able to create, if it's not just paper crafting, it's to be able to, create a candle, create a meal, create, anything like that. Paint, there's painting and palettes and ceramics and all kinds of things that any industry like that, it needs to absolutely have the experience. And that is why I want to challenge you today. Most people, and this is something I hear a lot of, so I do, when I said at the beginning, I work with a lot of demonstrators. This is not just from Rhonda's experience and what Rhonda says to do. It is from working with hundreds and thousands of demonstrators on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis. And one thing I hear a lot and see a lot are that, and this is in every industry, we just want to work from home. We just want to show stuff and hope people buy. We want to be able to blog or do a video or post a picture and everyone just buys what we're using, right? Demonstrators or people who don't understand, I did a Facebook Live and no one's buying anything. Like nobody buys anything. I've been doing them for a year, Rhonda, and I still have never gotten an order from it. Let's imagine that with any industry, but specifically with our paper crafting. So if you are just showing everybody what you can do, how is that evoking experience, the joy, the creativity, the crafting, the euphoria? You're not giving that experience to your customers or to other people. You are experiencing it. And yes, an avid crafter who is already an avid crafter will be able to watch you and probably own the supplies to be able to make it too. So I'm not saying that it doesn't work at all, but for the majority of times it doesn't. And even for an avid crafter, they are going to be a whole lot happier when they actually have the product and the things that they need to actually make what you are making. you are going to then not only give them a reason to want to purchase, but to continue to keep purchasing whatever it is that you are using. What I call that is you're going to show and sell. You just wish you could just show it and sell it. People do that with, I see it on Facebook or on Instagram. They're selling, curling irons. Instead of, if I actually went to a salon and I saw the curling in my own hair, I would buy it. Just watching it in someone else's hair, I'm not as apt to buy it. Another perfect example of show and sell is I love HelloFresh. Anybody who knows me knows I love HelloFresh. I've been using it for about 3 years. Before that, I never cooked. I never made meals for my family, and it was a mom guilt complex, and now I have got it nailed. But HelloFresh is the one who allows me to do that. Now, could I make all the meals now after 3 years? Of course I could. But I love the easy button. I love everything coming to me. Everything's there that I need. And I'm not everything. Again, I still have to provide the basics. I got to provide the pots, the pans. I got to provide olive oil and salt and pepper. But they give me all the things that I would have to, go out and buy probably. So, but let's compare that to a recipe. Let's say you're just looking at a recipe. Okay, so now we have to go to the store. We got to try to buy everything. How much is that going to cost? Because we know we usually overbuy, and then we got to try to go and make it, and it is hopefully that it will turn out. People, that's a show and sell. I'm going to show you this recipe card, and now go ahead. Good luck, make it. Instead of something like HelloFresh, where here's the recipe card, here's the bag of supplies you need. You don't have to go anywhere. Now just make it. And then we get to actually make it, eat the food within 40 minutes, and experience the joy of actually creating something and having it done. Not just looking at a cute or an awesome, delicious recipe and hoping it gets done someday. Someday I'm going to make that. Instead, it's right there in front of you. I'm going to make it right now and have immediate results. That is, to me, such a perfect example of what we want to give our customers. Because let me ask you this foundational question. If someone's looking at a recipe and they're going to make it, who gets paid for that? Who makes the money from that? The store where you get this, the store where you get that, the where you have to go buy, okay, I need a new, strainer. I'll go and buy that from this store. I'll go to Amazon and get it, right? But when HelloFresh provides you with that bag of meals, who gets paid then, right? HelloFresh. They get paid. So when you provide the service, not just show something, not just watch me make it, because then they're going to go to all kinds of stores to try to replicate what you just made. Instead of, watch this, I'm going to send you all the supplies. Guess who's going to make the money? You are. Guess who they're going to buy from? You. And that is the big picture of why we want to make sure that we are providing classes that actually include the product and include what they need. Now, is it easy? Nope. I'm going to tell you that. It takes a lot of extra work. But in this case, your hard work will pay off. Your hard work will help your classes grow. It'll help your income grow. It will result you in much more results. So in life, it is just true. Hard work pays off. I tell that to my kids every single day when they are trying to get better at basketball or better in school or, finish college or whatever. Hard work pays off, and there's no easy button. And running online classes, it is not the easy button. So I'm here to tell you that. But I'm here to tell you that it is the way to build an income-driven, sales-driven business that will have customers, that will experience the creativity. And so they'll keep coming back to you instead of just watching other people or just watching you. They're actually going to create with you. So, and one last example, and this was one that we just did during the pandemic. We were looking for something for our family to do together during a family gathering that was during the pandemic. And so my sister found an online candle maker. And so what she did was she shipped all of us the wax, the oil, the things that we needed. And then we all gathered in our own homes with a Zoom with her, and we all made candles. It was the exact same concept of that seemed so simple. All she had to send us was wax, wax is so cheap, some oils, and then a wick. So what she sent us was not very expensive. And then obviously we actually used our own jars and our own things to be able to put the candles in, but it was the concept of we actually made it. We actually were done with it afterwards. And then she wanted to sell us other products that she could ship to us so we could continue to keep making candles. So this is the idea that we need to get the product in the hands of our customers, not just selling a tutorial, not just selling pictures, not just sending a video, not just hoping that they're going to buy, from you, hoping, crossing my fingers. No, we are going to require them to buy from us so that they are able to make what it is that we are making. So the last, one of the things I told you that it is work. When I started doing, the very first year I started doing online classes or to-go classes or classes to go and including a packet, I did it with a partner who worked in Canada and I worked here. So she would do the Canadian packets and I would do the ones here in the US. And she, after about a year of it, she was like, Rhonda, these are just for the birds. They're so much work. And, I just say we let the packets go. We just sell the content. We can still make a lot of money from the content, and it will be so much easier. We don't have to worry about all that, the work of cutting the paper, packing the paper. And that was 13 years ago, about 12 years ago. And I was adamant with her. And I said, no, it's not about that. This is the reason why. It's not about that packet. It's not about the paper. It's not about what's in there. It's about them actually making something and then buying the product that they need to continue to make more. The reason why our event is so successful is because I do that packet. The reason why if I do a retreat or a convention or a stamp camp and they sell out in hours, the reason why is because I send that packet. Because when people come to my events, they get to actually get something in their hands. They get to actually have that euphoria. And the content might be the same as all online, but you can't compete with the fact that somebody's going to actually be able to make something. So I told her right then, I said, that packet is so powerful beyond just what's in there. It is about your fun in the event. So people are going to want to come back again if it's fun. It's about the attendance. Your attendance will stay strong for your online classes. You will have repeat customers. On average, like I said, 500 to 600 classes a month. I will tell you that 95% are probably repeat customers. And then every month I'll get about 5% more. But imagine that. Everything that you do, it's repeat. And so if you do 4 or 5 events a month, guess what? Repeat. They are repetitive customers. You don't have to kill yourself to get new customers when all the ones that you work for stay around month after month after month. So it's about attendance at your events, and it's about your future sales. So again, that packet, this packet that we mail out is not just about this packet. It's not just about the expense, or this is not about the $10 or $15 I made off this packet. What this packet does for me is make my events incredible, fun, and it makes them want to come back again. And it's all about my future sales. That person is going to buy the product from me to complete that class. So everything that you do live, by the way, for those of you who used to do live events or you are doing live events, anything that you do live can still be done online. Everything. We have found a way: retreats, stamp camps, bingo nights, card classes, workshops, teaching classes, conventions, all of it. You can take it and do it online. And they are actually just as powerful as they were when we were face to face. So I'm going to break it down right now to some imperative steps. So that whole first part was a bunch of, building all of it up. Like I need you to believe in me, and I need you to believe in this concept, and I need you to really embrace it and understand the reasons behind it, so that when you're realizing it's a lot of work. One of my favorite training clients who is always in the top 10, and her sales, when I started working with her, went from 20,000 to well over 300,000 or more. When she one time told me, she was like, Rhonda, you know what? Everything that you tell me works. She goes, but that's a lot of work. They're hard. It's hard work. And I'm like, yes, but so is anything in life. There's not the easy button. We do see some people in our industry. So we see some paper crafters that do, show their projects and people buy. That is because they have a built up long time reputation. Eventually, you will probably be able to. Eventually, it might be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years down the road. And you'll even though you will be able to do that, I would still recommend sending out the packages, because again, it's about that future. But some people do have the power. Because you might say, well, but Rhonda, so and so can just do a video and sell stuff. Yes, so and so can, because so and so has worked 10 years or 15 years and has built a very stable brand and reputation, and has trained her customers and is working with more avid customers. So, but that's not for the normal. I do want to make sure that I'm always duplicatable for the beginning paper crafter, the middle paper crafter, and the avid paper crafter. But this concept is what everybody can do to start building and to start growing those sales through online classes. All right, so here are some, I see you guys asking a lot of questions, and I'm going to cover them. So right now I'm going to get down to some of these nuts and bolts about how to. Like I said, I have gone through 13 years of lots of painful learning lessons. I didn't give up, I just kept perfecting. One of my very first classes I did, it cost me at the end of the day over $500 because I didn't price it out properly. I didn't charge enough for shipping. I didn't figure out any of that. So instead of just saying, well, that was a waste of my time, instead I said, okay, I've got to keep learning. I got to change it next time. So it's something where I'm always learning. I have sent out packets where everything was arrived completely damaged, and I refunded everybody their money because it was completely damaged. It was a very expensive learning lesson for me, but it was a learning lesson, and it's one I'm going to try to help you avoid. All right, so number one, and I am going to work in order. So some of you are jumping in about directions and pricing and all of that stuff, right? So we can't start there, because it doesn't matter if you price something. It doesn't matter if you do the best directions if you're not starting what will actually make you successful. So all of you sometimes are way up here with all of this stuff, and you're worried about all of this. And so if you even do all of that, but you don't follow, I've got 4 basic steps before we even get there. And if you don't have these things in place, then your online classes are never going to take off. So we got to kind of back down to some of the basics. So the first thing is that you need to design your class before you can even begin to sell it, before you can even be able to market it or offer it or cut it or ship it. You have to design it. And online classes are very important, that you design online classes that are easy to create and easy for people to duplicate. I know some of you are very avid specialty complex stampers, and there is a place for that, but those are for maybe more of a specialty class. But when you are shipping out online classes and your projects are too intricate or difficult, and someone is struggling to make them because you're not there with them, right? And they in your instructions are like, I can't follow it because it's really difficult, they're not going to buy from you again. Okay, so online classes are meant to be able to have people be able to make them. That is the number one thing. So I was talking to somebody and she had me look at her cards, and I was like, you used 8 different stamp pads, and you used 3 different stamp sets, and you used, this one card has 8 different colors. She was like, I know, I wanted to give my customers more things to have to buy. And I said, but you're going to get the opposite effect. They're not going to buy anything, and they'll never buy your class again because it was too difficult for them to complete. It was too much work. Or it was just, they didn't want to have to buy $500 in product to be able to create your $40 class. Now, but here's the deal. If you make your classes easy and duplicatable and a good value and cute and quick, then they're going to buy the $500. They're going to buy it as you go. You got to keep your customers. And if your designs are too difficult or require too much supplies, then they are not ever going to buy your classes again. So again, some of you, your niche in your paper crafting might be techniques. It might be, really fun folds. You can do all that stuff. It just will require, videos. It will require a little bit more work from you. But the biggest thing is still easy, duplicatable. This is for online classes. It's actually very, very important. Because that's number one, is your designing. And I'm going to show you guys some samples here at the end, what I mean by that. So I actually brought a bunch that I had laying around so I could show you what I mean by the cards are still gorgeous. Well, as I'll show you real quick since we're in the rear, the cards are still gorgeous, but they are duplicatable. So, and here's one I just did for the Christmas time. So it's the Angel of Peace. And you can't tell me these cards are not beautiful. Like, they're gorgeous. You can't tell, but the wings sparkle too. But if you can tell, I've only used like 1 or 2 stamp pads. I'll tell you how we do a lot of the prep work for them. But that's just a few of them. And I'll show you what I included in that class and how you would package it up. But they are still beautiful cards. They're just easy put together. Number 2. So number 1 is you have to design, and you have to design projects in a class that is that people can actually accomplish. So number 2 is you have to have a system for signups. You probably haven't even thought about that. You're too worried about shipping and packaging. Guess what? You're not going to ship anything if you don't take registrations. So one of the number 1 things that I see where people that are growing and flourishing and their online classes are taking off and ones that aren't, this is a deal breaker. If you are saying, oh, just email me or let me know if you want to join, or you have to have an online system where you take registrations. You have to have a system that actually has a report. So you know who to ship to, and you have their addresses, and you have all their information, and it's important. So you need to have this first before I would ever attempt doing online classes effectively. So I will recommend the one that I've been using for literally 12 years and love it. And I've used others. So I used to use Eventbrite, and I love Eventbrite. That is an option, but it got to be very expensive because they charge a fee for each transaction that you do. But you I know there's Eventbrite there. You can do the Google Docs, but then you're going to have to invoice everybody. So it's another step along the way, but that works when you're very first starting off. I use Constant Contact, which is email marketing and event marketing. Plus it has like a bunch of other stuff too, but I use the event marketing, and that's where I can create an event. It does everything for me. It does the web page, all the links, all the payments. I can do add-on items, and I print all the reports. And a lot of my clients use Constant Contact as well. So that's what I use and highly recommend it. And Constant Contact has also switched to Eventbrite, where they charge per transaction, unless you know somebody who has it's called version 15. And that is what I have. And so I'm welcome to share that with you. But version 15, they'll charge you just a flat $25 a month. Then you can use it as much as you want and take on as many people as you want to. So anyway, you got to find one. That's the most important thing. Have a system, an easy system for signups, and a one-click ordering. We want them to be able to click it and then put in their information and then be able to click other things that they want to add to their class. I'll get to that in a minute. So that's number 1. Number 2. Number 3 is your pricing. Pricing is very important to this. You don't want to lose money. We're doing this to make money. We're doing this to sell product, which we get paid a commission from our company. So we will get paid when we sell product. And then we want to make sure that we are covering all of our expenses and then also making an income. Online classes can be very profitable if you price them correctly. So this was something I've had to learn a lot along the way. So the first thing that you always do in the online classes, because remember, we want the creativity into their hands. The product has to go in their hands. That is the whole key to this training. So if you take anything that I do and just start sending out card packs with no product, or you just start doing online classes where you're selling videos or tutorials, you are missing the point of this training. So your online classes need to include product that they're going to use, that they are going to make some beautiful things with at their fingertips right then. So your class needs to include product. So as an I'll do that same example. So for instance, with the one that I just showed you, it was the Angels of Peace, right? It didn't include the stamp set. They didn't get the stamp set. They had to add that on. So they had to add that on to their order if they want to. But what they got was they got a half a pack of the gold vellum that they needed. They got a whole half a pack of all this beautiful paper. They got some stuff I dropped on the floor. And then they got a packet that will have all of their pieces in there. See, it's cut, it's embossed. It's all ready for them and the envelopes to be able to make those cards. All they have to do is stamp, follow the directions. All they have to do is be able to, they need the stamp set, right? If they might already own it, or they might already own an angel set already, but a lot of them are going to want the one that I'm using. So that would be an add-on. So this class right here was $39, and then they could add on the stamp set if they wanted to. So that's just a way for me to increase sales, but it's also a way for people that maybe don't want to purchase that, but they'll use what they have to still want to be able to buy that class. So that's what I mean when it needs to include product into that. So that is number one. Is it needs to include the product, price out that product, add add the shipping, the tax, everything. And that's the first amount. You need to include any of your shipping supplies. So if you have to buy padded envelopes, if you have to buy labels, if you have to buy stickers, if you have to buy inserts, you need to make sure that you have all of that included in there as well. I love to I do lots of labels, and I like to even brand some of, again, it's as you develop. I've been branding some of my own bags that I put in there. So you need to have all that cost in there as well. The next thing you need to budget in there is time that you have to spend to do it. Pay yourself your time or a helper. So we'll talk about that too. If you have to hire employees or helpers or an assistant or something like that. So you want to make sure you have that cost in there as well. And then lastly, the shipping. So whatever it costs to ship, it is what it is. You can even, for instance, you can price your class $39 and free shipping. They don't have to know what you're using that for. So you can price it that way too. I definitely have found in the last 2 years where lots more people are doing online classes, some of the ones that are struggling are the ones that are breaking out the shipping, because they'll say, oh, it's a $35 class, but then I got to pay $12 for shipping. That sometimes will scare people away. So I think it's better to include it in there and then to let them know that it's either free shipping or shipping is included. Now, here's the key part to this pricing. Always offer additional products that they will need to complete that class. You can, and again, in our industry, we do stamps, ink, adhesives, all kinds of things. If you are a painter, you can include paintbrushes. When I was teaching Maddie, she did a class for, I don't know, I can't remember, it was like cheeks. And so she included, a blush and this and that, but then she had add-ons that were the cheek brushes, that were, the foundation primer. So we always want to do add-ons. I mean, think about it. Same thing. Let's go back to my favorite HelloFresh example. Every week I get to pick out my HelloFresh dinners. Before I can even go on to the next step, it'll say, would you like to add on this or this or this? Or what about a dessert? Or maybe now they even do do you want to add on some extra protein? So it's all about the add-ons. You suck them in, you gather in those customers by sending them this packet, but then it's the additional items that you sell that are going to increase your sales and increase your income. You're already shipping them the packet already. It doesn't take any extra work to be able to keep packing it full of other things. So every event that I do usually has at least 2, 3, 4 add-ons that people can add on. I don't usually do too much more than that because then I get confused and that's too much stuff. So you got to make sure you don't do too much. Just, again, my maximum is usually about 4 that I will add on. Another good example is Amazon, right? Like when you buy something from Amazon, what's the first thing they do? We also suggest you get this, this, and this. And those things actually are what you might really want to go with what you're buying. So that is exactly what we're doing. When we sell our class, we will suggest the things that they will really want and need to complete that class and then other classes that they have. So add-ons are the huge key to growing your sales and growing your income and not working any harder, right? Like a lot of us want to grow, but we don't have any more time, or we're already maxed out, or we only have a certain level of customers. We don't have all these customers coming out of the sky to grow from. So take what you're doing and really increase that. That is the way for you to grow your sales and grow your income. All right. So the next step is, okay, so after you have designed, and then you have your system for taking signups. We're not even touching marketing here. There's marketing behind all that. That's another whole training series. Then you have your pricing. Once you have your price point and then all your add-on price points, then you have to think about actually preparing for your class, right? This is the key part. I don't just take all that stuff and then shove it into a package, right? I already showed you. All of my packages will be prepped. I label everything. You want to make sure that your packages are organized. In the beginning, I didn't. I just throw everything in there and send it. And I would get all these emails. Rhonda, I don't know what this goes to or what class is that with. And I learned, I got to start packing, every class individually. I need to start labeling every class. So, and I also think one of the things that really draws people to continuing to keep taking the classes, even after 13 years, is that the work is done for them. It's easy. It's the same reason why 3 years later, I still buy HelloFresh, even though I could make all that myself. It's because it's the easy button. So all the circles, the die cutting, the embossing, I do about 90% of it. Now, some in our industry, in our stamping industry, some of our products are very intricate. Like we have dies that are very intricate, things that are, and so for those, I'll tell them, I don't do that for you. You have to do it yourself. So you're going to want to make sure that you either own that bundle or you buy that bundle from me, or if not, you have something, because I'm not doing it for you. I will provide the paper for them and the cardstock for them, but they will be the ones that will have to have that. So like I just did a class with the tulips. I did not run the tulips for them. There was too many pieces and too intricate. But again, they're going to want that tulip bundle, right? And a lot of people bought it and love it. All right, so a couple tips on that. I use a Carl cutter for my cutting for mass production. I love it. I've actually owned very expensive, huge guillotine cutters, and I've gone back to the Carl cutter. It's my favorite. I have an electronic die cutting machine. Obviously, I love our Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine. I have 2 of them. I love them and use them. But for mass production, I'm talking like 20,000 shapes a month, or maybe even a week. We use an electronic die cutting machine for that. That's, again, when you get to that point, it'll help save you. And really thinking about how you're going to package safely. If people are ordering things from you and they're coming in damaged, they're not going to order it again. Especially, for instance, we deal with paper. You have to make sure the paper is coming in intact. And so I'll show you some of the ways that I ship here at the end. The last thing that's very important to ask, and this is important for if you did live presentations too, is where is your classroom? Where are you going to hold your class, right? What's your platform? You have to think about this to be able to implement an online class. There's so many choices, and everybody's going to do it differently, and that's okay. I'm going to list for you the choices, and then I'll tell you actually what I do. But again, you might do it differently, and that's okay. Either way, you have to have a classroom. My favorite and probably best one is Zoom. Zoom is one where, it's interactive, so you still have the interaction with them. I always have 2. I have a Zoom that's on my hands, so they can watch my hands, and I'll spotlight my hands when I'm creating. But then I'll have one on my face. So I have 2 devices going. My phone does my hands, and my laptop does my face, and I can watch comments too. So that is, to me, I have found to be absolutely easiest to do, and the one that provides the most interaction with my customers and my team. Some people say, oh, but Zoom you got to pay for. It's, I think, $149.95 a month. I mean, a year. If you buy at a year, it might be a little bit more than that now. That is so stinking cheap for a location. So when I was doing live events and well, you're at my studio now, I pay rent for this place. Like when I was doing events and I had to rent a hall, rent anywhere, a hotel, rent space, it was minimum $50 up to $100 per event, right? Zoom, it's $14.95 a month for all of the events that you do. So don't you ever complain about the expensive Zoom. It is so well worth it as a classroom. It is actually stinking cheap. You could also do a Facebook group. Facebook groups work too. You just can't see people's faces. So it is kind of one-sided, but it is a way for them to at least see you and connect with you, and again, watch your hands as well. So you can do a Facebook group and you can, give the content there. You can use StreamYard. You can, one thing I highly recommend is YouTube. YouTube is absolutely, positively one of the most long-standing and future-standing and stable ways. You just will do a video and you record your video. You can do a YouTube live, and you can do Facebook lives as well. You can record in advance. It depends on how you feel live. Some people get in front of a live camera and they freeze and they are mortified and can't do it. So if that case, just pre-record your hands and then send them that. You don't have to show your face. Now, when you do, I feel like it does help your clientele connect with you. I think it helps. But if it is a make or breaker that you are going to do it or not do it, then don't show your face. Just point the camera down and show your hands. Just use your phone to get started. Eventually, you will develop into different devices. But even today, I still just use a long neck goose holder and my phone for most of my classes, or I use Zoom with my laptop. It doesn't have to be complicated. You'll see people using complicated things, but I'll tell you what, just because you have the right devices doesn't mean that you're going to be successful. I know a lot of people who have a lot more devices and they're not selling near $300,000 a year, right? That you have to have the right, that these things are what are important. You do have to have a way though to make sure that you are teaching them how to create the projects that you're sending them. So you can actually schedule a Zoom at a certain time so that you are trying to gather with people. Or this is actually more of what I do. Well, here are three more different ways. You can just have a private page on your blog. So on my blog, I probably have, I don't know, like 700 private pages that only the people that have access to them are the ones I send a link to. So on my blog, I have a private page. I can upload pictures and videos and I can chit chat with them, and then I can send them just that link. And only the ones I send that link to will have access. So I have been doing that for years, and I actually still do that today too, because my customers have everything in one place. They know where to go, right? And then you don't have to bog down their email with tutorials and videos. Instead, it's just sending them a link. And then it's all housed in one place. And then if someone happens to lose that link, I can always very easily grab it for them, or my assistant can grab it for them. Teachable, that's what I use now. Again, I am growing. Teachable is meant for courses. It's meant for that. So it is an option to be able to hold your online classes. That's where, again, we're looking for the classroom. So a lot of the events that I do on Teachable, I do, conventions, retreats, trainings. Guess what I do first? I send them a packet. They get a packet mailed to them, but then all of my content is on Teachable. So I still use my private blog. I use Teachable for all of my bigger events. My smaller events, I do differently. I don't necessarily stamp with or create with my customers live. And a couple of reasons why. One is it's not conducive for me. I live a very busy life. I told you my family and my business, and I don't have the evenings or the weekends or even a single hour that is free. What I do have scheduled is pretty much the maximum that I can handle. And so because of that, I need flexibility. So what I choose to do with my customers is that I send them a packet. I create step-by-step instructions. We take pictures. And then if I have to, I will pre-record a video and I would just send it all to them. Or I'll post it on the site and then they can access it. So it is something where then they can work on it whenever their package arrives. They can work on it at midnight. They can work on it on a weekend. Sometimes when you make people show up at a certain time, that's a detriment. They will actually not, they actually might not sign up because of the fact that they have to be at a certain place at a certain time. That's always also been something that will hold people back from live events. Well, I can't show up then, so I can't take it. So if you actually list a time and a place, sometimes that can really hold back your attendance. So just so keep that in mind. You can do all pre-recorded and send to them or post it for them, and then they can access it and download it and work on their project when they want to. A lot of my customers gather with their friends and they make it together on their own time frame. Both of those work. Both options are options. You have to find what works for you. I actually do a blending of both. I probably do one event a month where I gather live with my customers or with an event. The other ones, I do all the other way, where I just ship it out and then I send them. When I ship it, I send them out their material. So that way I know they have their material when their boxes arrive. So I put on here, multiple is best. It's best to do a little bit of both. It is best that you offer, I do some things on my Facebook page. I do some things public and everyone can watch, but only the people who ordered will have their boxes. Those are the ones that, are like, they're going to be making and they'll be buying right along with me. And some things I do on Zoom and some things I just do on YouTube videos that are unlisted and we send them. So you have lots of different options. The next thing because we're almost getting to the end, I have one thing and then closing thoughts, and then we'll answer some questions. I do want to show you a couple examples, is shipping. So shipping is a huge learning curve. Oh my gosh, if I could say anything that has challenged me the most, it is the shipping. So I use primarily 3 different forms. And if people always say, what do you use for 12 by 12? I use 12 by 12 mailers. You just want to make sure that you keep it less than a pound. So let me give you an example. So my class that I just shipped out was with 12 by 12 paper. So with that case, here's my 12 by 12 paper. I took the heavy cardboard out of it. That alone brought it down to less than a pound. Obviously I have I did the print work for them. This is for my Creating for Christ. So here's their paper. They got their print work. So they have to do some work. They have to cut their print work. And I have them cut their own designer series paper. So we give them the measurements and they have a whole pack of it. So if they mess up, whatever, just grab another piece. So first, let me show you, I'll give you an example as we're going so I can kind of blend these together. These are the cards that I designed. They're really fun folds. And so this is what they're going to make, right? So really cute. There's one. They made 5 different ones. See, and then it's so cool because the other side you can see. Again, the stamp and the ink are not included. That's okay. That gives them something to buy, right? And then, but all the paper, all the embellishments, these beautiful little gems, they're all in there. We do all the cutting of the shapes. And then here's this one. Be still and know that I am God. And then, of course, see how beautiful it is in there. Look at that. So one more, right? And this one I did this direction. So that's what they're going to make. Then here's the packet that I sent them. So they get the whole pack of 12 by 12 paper. They'll have lots left over to be able to continue to keep making. So that's another perk, that when they order my classes, they get lots of extra stuff to be able to keep creating. Again, remember, we want it in their hands. Everybody also got like a full pack of the gems. And then here's the packet. I'm sorry, there's a glare. I got all these lights on, so it's not so dark, but I label everything. There's envelopes in there, and then all the pieces are cut, prepped. we do the die cutting for them. We do the punching. So that way they can just get out their pieces, follow the directions. This one, I sent them directions, and I did actually do a public video that I did on my Facebook public page, so everyone could see how to make it. But then I downloaded it to YouTube, and then I sent it to the people who ordered it. And then this was my mailer. Now, sometimes with this one, I added on. One of my add-ons is always a class for 2. So then they just double everything, but then they save on the shipping. So, and then I added on the stamp set, and I added on a package if they wanted a whole package of adhesive. So if people ordered all of that, it wouldn't fit in that mailer, and it'd be well over a pound anyway. So then I always use the post office has boxes for free. So I don't have to even pay for boxes. So the post office offers flat rate, which I don't use very often. The flat rate is actually the more expensive, but they have ones that you can just do based on weight. So, but I do, obviously for me, I'm in Michigan. So my customers who are in California or Washington, flat rate is a cheaper option. So there, I wanted to show you an actual example of what one of my classes, this is when I literally just mailed this out like yesterday. So let me show you one of my most popular classes. It's like the most popular one is I do my retreats, my stamp camps, like everything that you could imagine that you would do live, I do to go. And you just got to record the videos, and you just got to send them the directions, right? So these I send in boxes, and they get every single thing that my customers would get. First of all, I always put adorable stickers on all of my packages so that they say like Happy Mail, life is better with Happy Mail. This one says, warning, this package will cause extreme happiness. But they get, all the paper that my customers got. I always include the paper. Obviously, they have the package of the make and takes, the paper already cut. This one, they actually get a bag. So the bag goes in there. I'll show you that here in a second. Inside the bag is all the fun product. So they got, cards and envelopes. They got all kinds of little gifts, that ribbon with a gift in there. They got, all the cards. They got twine. They got, let's see. So this one costs $119. So some of my classes are very expensive, but look at all the products. Look at all the sales, right? They got twine. They got doilies. Oh gosh, and that's not it. So the last thing I'm going to talk to you about are the special touches, and this one is full of special touches. It's a little box it has a little plate in there, like a little ring holder. It has it had a little box that has candy inside that we decorated. And every one of my events, I always love to make them something personalized, something with their name on it, so they know that I made it just for them. This was like a little nameplate. It says home is where the heart is. There's one other thing in here. Okay, so look at that. I fit all of that in this box, right? So that's my retreat in a box. That's like my most popular. And then stamp camps and things like that. So hopefully that gives you an idea of what I have so many more. And then these are like all their make and takes. So then once they get that, they have all these make and takes that they can handle. So that again is just some examples. I use my other most used thing that I have for shipping is just the padded flat rate envelope. It's the easiest. And again, all the fun stickers on it. The padded flat rate envelope, the only thing you have to be very careful of is that you make sure that if you're putting paper in there, that there's backing on it. So this was the one where I had this class, but I could, because look at all that backing. So I tuck all the paper in that backing so that it won't get bent. If you don't have that backing, then you want to make sure that you're actually putting a backing in there to protect it. All right, so some of my closing thoughts, and then I saw there are lots of questions that came through. We'll try to get through them. Number one, consistency is key. Offering online classes whenever you feel like it, or sporadically or periodically, they'll never work. You need to be consistent. When, is it one every month? Is it 2 every month? I do a card club, a Creating for Christ, a stamp camp, everything. It is absolutely consistent. That and for live events or for anything in any online business or any business, consistency is always key. But even more for online classes. Yes, this is work. It absolutely takes time. But this is why you'll find success. If you think, oh, I just want to post pictures and take orders, good luck. Good luck. You let me know how that goes for you. Now, again, some people can do that are very well established. But for all of us who are trying to still get sales and build and become established, this works. Your customers will want more of this, and you will sell a whole lot more because you're actually getting it in their hands. But this is where you want to make sure you're investing time where you're actually going to see results. One of the things you're going to need help as you grow. Now, if you only have 4 or 5 customers, you can do that probably on your own. But as you grow, you will need people to help you with this. Obviously, I have helpers that help me do the punching and the die cutting. I have helpers that help me do the sorting. I have helpers that help me do all the mass production of the gifts. I can make it. And then I buy them we get the supplies, and then they can take them home and they can make them on their own, and they bring them back. So helpers are really important as you grow. If you ever get to the point you're like, I can't do this, it's too much. No, go get a helper. So that way you can keep growing and keep growing. And lastly, those special touches. I think that is one of the things why people will keep coming back, is always fun, surprise, special touches. One of the things that I put into every single box is a card that just says, well, I'll tell you what it says. It says, your happiness is important to me. I hope this crafting kit brings you joy. We hand pack each one with lots of love. Be sure to check your email for the directions. If you do not find them in your inbox, then shoot me an email. And then I say, have fun getting crafty. I appreciate you. And then on the back, I give them all the ways to my website, email me, text me, and follow me on Facebook and YouTube. So I put that on every single package. And I also just sometimes if I'm using a box, I'll just make, cute little things to go inside that are inexpensive. Sometimes if they get an embellishment, then I'll actually package the embellishment in a little pouch or something. Let's see, this one, oh, they got little paper clips. So anyway, I always am having fun with just little special touches that I can add into my classes that will make people want to continue to keep buying them. All right, Jonah, I think it's time for a Q&A. There's so many questions that were asked. I'm sure we won't get them through. That, like I said, when I've been training on online classes, it is years. We continue to keep training on it. But I wanted to really give why to do it, and then some important steps that we need to focus on first before we worry about everything else.
Yes, thank you so much. First, you just plowed through all of that. That was awesome. You got so much. I hope if we don't answer your questions that you popped in the chat, hopefully for everyone watching, Rhonda did answer them, or we get a chance to in a minute. So keep popping questions in there. I got quite a few lined up. I did just want to call out quickly your course, Rhonda, which goes through and would answer a lot of these questions as well. Correct?
Yes. Every year, 13 years, I start off the year with growing your business. And so I just wrapped up a course called Growing Your Business in 2022. So this is something that what I was telling Jonah is my training services is a recurring subscription. It's a group you belong to. We are a group, we're a family, we support each other. It's a huge group that we're all learning the same things, right? We're all building together. So, but I do offer courses throughout the year that people can kind of test run. So this course is included in my Business Builders program. I either have the Business Builders resource library, where you just get all the recordings, or I have the Business Builders VIP program, where it's all the recordings, and you get a weekly Facebook Live with me to answer your questions, and you get all of my online conventions and trainings that are on top of the weekly training. So this was one that we just wrapped up with that group, and now I'm making it available for anybody to purchase if they want to. But it's a 4-week comprehensive training on how you can grow your business in 2022, because there's a lot of challenges. It's different than it was in 21, different than it was in 2018. And so And it starts you from the beginning. Like we start off with, you gotta clean your craft room, sister. Don't be working in clutter. When you're working in clutter, you won't be able to work. So I always start with what works, and we start at the foundation. And then we go through, how to find new customers, both live and online, how to grow your teams, we go through, what different events you can run and all kinds of things. So it's a 4-week program with a handbook along with it and homework assignments. So that's the course that I chose to offer, so that people that wanted, a good comprehensive, covering of how can I start and then grow, that's the best one.
That's all. And I just want to call out for everyone watching. So, the link to the course is in the comments. It's pinned at the top. It is also in the description, and it's on sale for a week. So it's only $32 there, which is a fantastic price to hop in and get those questions answered. So let's try and dive into the questions we have, but I wanted to make sure that we had the course out there. And if you don't get your question answered and you're on the edge, the course would be a great, affordable way to dive in and answer those questions. But I wanted to start with this one, and we'll just kind of try and rocket through as many as we have time for. And I know you kind of talked about this, but with many of these events I've done, no matter the industry, this continues to come up and is really a challenge for people. Mm-hmm. So Hannah is saying, I've been offering classes with packets for years and virtually since pandemic, but I'm always struggling to find customers. How do you find new customers? So say you have all of the systems set up or not, but imagine a world where you have the email capture, you have all of this, you're offering the courses, but you're just not getting new people in. How do you find those new people?
Absolutely. And that was when I went through that. I said, there's a piece of the marketing that is huge. I mean, one of the trainings I just did was 4 weeks long, 5 hours long, and it was about building your social media presence or building your online presence and how to grow online. So your question, Hannah, is a great one, and I'm just going to be honest with you, it's not an easy answer. There's a lot of different facets that work together. I can tell you that how I find most of my new customers is through Facebook. Facebook is where crafters hang out. I know you'll hear Instagram Reels and you'll hear TikTok and you'll hear this and you'll hear that. And those things are all effective for different industries. But the average crafter is sitting on Facebook or watching YouTube videos in their craft room. I'm talking about the average one. Some people are not average. I'm actually not average. But that is where they are. And so most of my new customers come from Facebook Lives that I do consistently, YouTube videos that I do consistently, and word of mouth. Word of mouth is huge. When anybody gets my classes, their friends want to get my classes too. But online, you also you need to hang out where crafters hang out. You need to share so that people will want to come to you. So it means that maybe you go to other crafting groups and you share openly and freely. And of course you link them back to if you can. If it says no links, don't you dare put a link. But if it doesn't have that requirement, then put links for them to come and find your Facebook group. Come and find your website or whatever. But I rely very heavily on Facebook, my business page with a live, and then I will boost it. I boost once a week. I always boost. I always advertise. I pay. I have a budget that I pay every week, and that does bring me in new people. I do share, and I ask for my customers to share. Again, I ask for subscribers. I ask for them to share my video or share my email. I'm always asking to join my email. I personally am an email marketer. I don't blog. If you're going to go look for my blog, don't keep looking because I don't blog. I use email marketing to communicate with my customers, and it's extremely effective because I drive into their email boxes. So I'm always asking people to join my email list. It's a continual grind. If you were going to be doing live business, you'd be out there doing craft fairs and working at libraries and schools and getting hostesses. It's a continual grind. Now, there's joy in that and there's excitement and it's fun. Luckily, we get to make pretty things as we're grinding, but it is something where we have to continually be asking for new customers. One last thing I do is I partner a lot with other demonstrators. I partner a
Mm,
lot with demonstrators from other countries. I partner a lot with people from different industries. So I'll partner with, again, a Mary Kay, and we'll do cards and makeup. I've done Pampered Chef, I've done Scentsy, I'll partner with just about anybody. Well, because I know they have a following that likes to online shop and they like direct sales. And that's what I do too. And we can cross reference our customers. So I do find a lot of customers that way too. I am not a one man show. Rhonda is a team of people that I believe in us working and supporting each other. And then we all grow from it.
yeah, I love that. And I so much appreciate because so many people end their marketing tactic with then just become a social media influencer. So I love when we have people on here, which ultimately still ends in email. So I just always have to call out when, because I think a lot of people don't realize email is still the number one platform.
It
And
is.
to see you being so successful, focusing on that is so valuable for people getting into it who are like, I don't want to be a Instagram influencer. You don't have to be, right?
Exactly. And
Yeah,
you won't become one. You won't be, if that's what your dream, and most of us, our dream isn't to become, and that's not what we want, but we just want a few customers to craft with, right? So, but if you can't ever be here, if you're not doing the steps down here to be able to get there, this actually generates naturally. That
right.
isn't generated by you saying, I'm going to do that. That becoming an influencer is something that is done naturally and is generated. I mean, there's obviously things that you'll do to make that happen, but you have to first do all the right things to have people that want to continue to want you, and to they're going to want to buy whatever it is that you are using.
Right, right. Love it. I'm just gonna keep rocketing here. If you're down, we
Yep.
have
Yeah.
quite a bunch of questions here. I know you talked about this a little bit, but we had like 4 or 5 people asking in the vein of how do you price your packets? How do you figure that out? Do you experiment? Do you have an equation? What's
Well,
your system for
yep.
doing that?
I share that equation. I'll share it again. So this time I'll say
Yep,
it a little
yep.
slower, and this time you can write it down too, because this is my equation. This is what I do every single class. Number one, you take the cost of the product included. So you add up what you're going to be putting in that kit. So if I put in, this and some paper and some, Wink of Stella and some adhesive, you add all that up, you add the shipping and the tax, the full cost of it. Don't discount it, because remember, you got to get paid. This is work. You got to get paid, and you have to have money to be able to pay helpers too. So you take the cost of the product, and then you're going to add on then I add on the cost. Like I add on $5, and that is the covering for me to add on my time, and then the time if I have to pay a helper. So if
Mhm.
I have 10 people, then I am collecting $50 that I will use, and it may take me 4 hours to do that prep work. So I add on that $5, and then I add on the shipping and the shipping costs. So if I'm packaging in a flat rate package, I always figure it's $8.50. I use stamps.com. I know somebody asked that question. I actually would
Mhm.
recommend, if you're just starting off, to use Pirate Ship. They don't have a fee, and a lot better feedback. I've just been using stamps.com for so long that I've stuck with them. But if you're starting off fresh, Pirate Ship .com is been very highly recommended by a lot of people that I work with. So you just take your supplies of your product. Now you'll see I did not put any cost in there for the cardstock. And the reason why is because, for those of you who are demonstrators, you know that when we put in the order for all of that product, we get all those free dollars from Stampin' Up. They give us those host rewards. So on the host rewards is where I will put any envelopes, I'll put any cardstock. So that all doesn't cost us anything. So it's the cost of the product, shipping, tax. Then I put in $5, and this is all U.S. dollars, and people are watching from all over. And then it's the cost of the shipping, which I do $10 for shipping. I do, $8.50 is the cost of the actual shipping, and then I have $1.50 that I put in there for my labels, my stickers, my bags, any of my packaging material that I have. So that's the formula. It's actually pretty simple. Now, again, though, if you're including a bunch of other crazy stuff, you have to include that cost in there.
Yep.
So that's for a basic class. Obviously for like a retreat or a stamp camp where I'm including like that bag and all the goodies, I have that budget. I have that budget in there of what else is included. But that's the basic formula.
And just to clarify, because there were a couple questions specific to like the multiple shippings included in you getting material and then sending it to customers and all of that, you're making sure to order these things in bulk, right? So that
I
you're
am.
not paying for individual packets to come to you and then reship to the person.
No, and that is actually something that some people will try. They'll say, "Oh, well, I'm just going to order it and have it shipped right from, our company, and then I'll send all the other stuff." And guess what? It doesn't work near as well. You might get a few people, you might get some, but again, that's a whole nother step that
Right.
you have to sit there and key that in, and then you have to still do all the prep work. That adding the product into the package is not, that's the easy part. So you're not saving yourself any time by actually doing that.
Right.
And the reason why I do it is because I want my customers to get that package and be like, "Wow, look at all the stuff that Rhonda sent me. Look at how fun it is," right? If all you're sending them is, this little package, you're gonna be like, "That's all I got," right? Like, I just spent $40 on that. They don't, and then of course their other box is going to come either early, and they're like, "What's this for?" Or it's going to come after. So I truly have found the most success where I just put in, the order, I have it shipped to me, and then I put together their packages and I ship it out.
I love it. I'm just going to keep rocking with these questions. I know
Okay.
we only have a few more minutes, but going to try and get to as many. I thought this was especially poignant, especially for people just starting out. What Dee is asking, what is a good class size number to start with? How many? Then, so the balance between getting enough customers to make it worth your time, but also feeling like you're giving personal help. Do
Um,
you?
I 21 years, I would do a class for one person. If I
Huh?
put it out there and one person, if all you have to do is cut paper for one person, that may take 5 minutes, right? So or 10 minutes, let's say. So the workload follows the number, for me to cut and prep for 100 people takes me, 2 days, but if I only had one person. So if you want, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you are brand new and you want to grow, you will do your classes for 1 or 2 or however many, and you will never get to point B if you don't start with point A. Now, of course, you're going to want to have them bring a friend. I will do everything in my power to not do a class for one person. I'll be like, "Hey, don't you have some friends, or can I bring a friend along with me?" Or like, let's do this, and try to get more people. So I rarely settle for one, but I would absolutely do it for one.
And then just to cover quickly on the other side, when are you getting like too greedy and maybe over promising if you're saying you're going to give personal help, but then there's 300 people in a Zoom? Like what?
Like I said, I don't do personal help. I do pre-recorded and send
Right.
it out. So that's you. This is where you get to be you. This is where you aren't Rhonda. You
Right.
are uniquely and beautifully you. You will give what's best in you. If I was to sit and try to personally help 50 people, I would probably end up being rude and short and impatient, and I'd be like, I would lose my temper because I don't have the pin 12 hours that day, and I need to go home and be with my family. So they don't get the best of Rhonda when I'm sitting there with 50 stampers trying to figure out how to make something. They get the best of Rhonda when I prepare everything ahead of time. It is precise, it is good, and then I send it to them, and then they work on their own. You, though, may be different. You may be the most patient saint in the world, and you will sit and work with all of them, and then that's you, what makes you special, and you will attract people that like that, and I will attract people that like the fact that they don't got to sit and listen to me. To be honest with you, for me to sit and watch someone stamp is like nails on a chalkboard. I'm like, "Come on, hurry up, let's go. Show me the finished project." That's my mentality. So that is who I attract. So you don't have to do it my way, and I don't have to do it your way, but you do have to deliver the content. So that's the
Right.
thing. And then you can deliver the content to where it works best for you, your life, your timing, and your customers.
Love it. I think we only have time for one more question here, but I'll also looking through, I hope you've answered some of the other questions we had.
I've been reading them,
Yeah,
and a lot
yeah.
of them I did answer. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought this one was really good, and I'm tacking on a little bit of my own to this. So Anne was asking, do you have different packages at different price points? Cheapest, just paper and stamps, paper, ink, like does it great? And I wanted to tack onto this a little because I've seen it so often with people starting out in any business is just creating too many options.
Yeah.
Versus focusing on like one option and really nurturing it. You're dealing with something where it makes sense to have a few different options, but how do you find a balance there and not just throw out overwhelming options so a customer doesn't know what to do?
Well, that's where when I covered it, I said I offer a class, right? So it's not really options. I'm offering the event. I'm offering the class. Then they can add on this. They can add on that. They can add on this. They can enhance what they want down here. But I have one basic cost because what Jonah said is so true. And oh my gosh, I'm sure you see it in your industry. I see it in my industry.
Yeah.
It's the whole concept of, there was a fair, real quick, and there was two booths, and both of them sold jelly, right? One booth sold 3 jellies, and they sold boom, boom, boom. They had their displays or advertising was on 3 jellies, and that was it. And their line was hugely long. They're known for their 3 jellies, right? Then there was a booth, 2 doors down that had 50 different kinds of ketchups or jellies. And guess what? People are like, whoa, I don't even know where to begin or what to do or where to start. So it is more is not more. That goes for email. If your email has more than like 1 page, that is less is more in almost every aspect of any industry. And it's better to do several emails than to do one that has 50 things in it. And so just do what you do well. To answer your question specifically is I offer one option. I will offer option 1 is the class. And my second option is a class for 2. So it's basically the same class, but of course it's not quite doubled because they get to save on shipping. So I do offer, class for you and a friend. And then in the next section of my registration, they can add on the stamp set or the bundle or the this. But if you have all those price points, immediately people will get overwhelmed. And a lot of people will just say, forget this. And if they see the price point of $95, they're gonna be like, oh, that's too much money. But if they can select the class for, let's say, $45, and in the next section, oh, I want that and I want that. And they check out and it's $90. And they're like, oh, okay, I guess so. But you'll never get them to click the buttons if you have that big, huge price tag right up front. So it's important that you have your class fee and then they are add-ons. So it's a different concept of the options that you're talking about.
Right. It's what Amazon and all the big companies do. We just have to use the same thing for our own business, right?
Same concept. Yep. There was one question that I wanted to just quick answer to. It was Debbie, and she's not a crafter, I can tell, but she says, what do you suggest to include for a service business? So I do want to answer that because my training business is completely a service business. Completely. So all I do is it's all about teaching, training. So I don't know what Debbie does as her service, but again, I teach and train, crafters how to build their business. So I have add-ons all the time, and I'll add on either one of my past trainings. Teachable calls it an order bump, so I'll add on some of my, I will have past courses. I used to carry handbooks and CDs, and I would always add those on too. The other thing that I do is if I'm teaching and training, say I'm teaching and training on them how to create a class and to sell this class and market this class, then I will offer an add-on for them to purchase a class from me so they can actually experience it. That is why, so when they actually experience a class, one of the number one things I will tell anybody out there, if you want to learn to do an online class, go take one. Go take one from somebody who's successful. So, and watch their emails, watch how they ship it, see what you like, see what you don't like, see what, that's the best way to learn, is to actually experience it. So if you are a service oriented person, how can the people who want to learn from you experience what you're trying to teach them? If you're teaching them how to use oils, then send them oils so they can actually experience it, so that they can actually learn about it. So there's still ways, even with service industries, to take every concept that I did and still put it into practice.
I love what you just said about going and taking an online course to learn. And also just, I did that, but the first time I did that, I was just looking at the course. But like you said, it's the emails, it's everything, it's the whole ecosystem. Yeah. Yeah. Rhonda, we have to wrap up for time.
I know.
I know.
So much. This is a big topic, but it's very, very relevant to where we're at today. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so if people want to learn more or have any other questions, do you have more resources or a place where people can reach out?
I say go to rondaway.com. That is the most comprehensive thing that I do to help you is my training programs. It's every week. And I'll be honest with you, you don't get Rhonda personally. You can't email me to have me answer your questions. You can't call me, you can't text me. I have 1,000 training clients, and there's no amount of money you can pay me to have me sit by your side. But if you want my personal help, then you do have to join the VIP program, because that is where every week I do a Facebook Live. I am there for you, and I do live videos with you. But I am, yes. So the best place to go is rondaway.com. I do not have an H in my name. All of my programs are there. And obviously, if you just want to dabble, then you can go with the course that Discover is offering you for a discounted rate. If you want help, and we have a Facebook group for communication. I have over 10 employees that help me, that have been training with me for 10 years, so they know what Rhonda's going to say. Then I would join the actual program. And that's only $19.95 a month, where that's even cheaper than buying the course. And the course is included in that. Plus about 600 other trainings are already loaded on that resource library.
That's awesome. Okay. So you've really set it up to make it accessible and easy for people to get in. Absolutely. And so the course we're offering on Discover, once more, it's pinned in the top of the comments, but I am also throwing in the comments just Rhonda's full collection of courses on our website there, so you can go check that out. Rhonda, thank you so much. Thanks for diving in deep.
Thank you for all who came and listened, and thank you, Jonah, for inviting me again. I absolutely am so happy with Discover and Teachable, and it's been a great ride. So thank you.
Absolutely. It's always a pleasure to have you. And thanks for taking the time for the extra questions. And once again, thanks everybody for being here and being so active and invested in the chat. What a community. And if you had a good time here today, please like and subscribe to the Spotlight channel. We're continuing to bring folks like Rhonda out to help us grow our passions into business and figure out all the complicated aspects of it. And once again, it's been such a pleasure. I hate that we have to wrap up for time.
I know. There's a lot of questions unanswered. But again, these are, they will, they can get their questions down the road too. And I will try to go on the YouTube and try to answer some too. I'll try. Yep.
Love it. Love it. Well, have a wonderful day, Rhonda. Have a wonderful day, everybody. It's been a blast. See you later.